Good day, viewers, and we have here on my left Mr. Mikey Willams, one of our very own local beekeepers, and it is one of the very most intriguing profession there is, I think, and I'm very delighted to be a part of this interview to learn as much as possible when it comes to beekeeping. So, Mr. Williams, the first question for you is, how long have you been doing this?
Well, I'm doing this for about 47 years.
Wow, 47 years. Now, the next question I have for you, Mr. William, is what inspired you in the first place to even take up such a real profession?
Well, to be honest, in my young days coming up, I always liked to be around bees. I just, was so fascinated by dealing with bees, catching them, putting them in bottles, you know. And there was an old man by the name of Mr. Thibault. We used to call him the honey man. He talked to me and he told me, Mike, you could get into the bees with me. I said, okay, no problem. And man, we travel a lot of bush. I don't know where we not travel to look for honeybee hives. And, it's a thing that I love. I leave this country, been away for a long time, come back and get myself back into it. And I mean, it's doing wonders for me.
All right then. Now, I heard you mentioned that the individual who you used to be with back then had a nickname, Mr. Honey. Do you have one?
Oh, just Mikey, the bee man.
Just Mikey the bee man. Oh, okay then, okay then. No, so you indicated just now that you went away. Am I to believe that you went away and did the same thing overseas?
No, I could not do this overseas because I was working on boat from England. I was sailing.
Okay.
And then I had 2 years and one from Canada. And,
Okay.
I came back and I just picked back up my profession because it's what I love.
Okay. So let me follow you because I want to be on point with everything when it comes to this. So before you went away, how long were you doing this beekeeping?
Well, the beekeeping wasn't like how it is now. We used to go like in the wild
Yes.
and check for the wild hives. And at them time, I never had nothing suit like this. I used to had just maybe a sweater and make up a pasteboard box, with a little piece of sifter wire at the front. And there's where I used to work it from until I get to know, about these suits.
Yes.
And I get to know about these suits maybe about 30 years ago. And, I really get myself up and going.
And they are very protective gears because as can be seen, the bees are all around and I feel very safe. My first time entering into a beehive area. So continue with the questions. Would you consider this profession a lucrative profession? Is it a profession that garners a good amount of income or is something that is struggling somewhat?
Yeah, it could be very, very productive, especially around this time. We just leaving the dry season, coming into the rainy season, where you find a lot of the trees going to be blossoming, and the bees them would have, pollen, pollen to work with, and then by the bees them have the pollen, I will be getting a lot of honey.
Okay.
Started already, and as we move, further into this interview, I will raise this box cover and show you, like what the bees them is really doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So we are dealing with the theoretical aspect of it now. A little in a few minutes we'll be going more into the practical aspect of it. But more going forward. So how do you get these bees trapped in here? Is it something you use to attract them and then you conceal them, or they come off of their own? Nature allows them to come in a position off of their own and then you capitalize on it. How do you get them assembled where you want them?
Something like people would call me and tell me, Mike, I have a hive in my house, in something. And, I would go, walk with the box, look for the queen, catch the queen, put the queen in, train a bit of bees, and the bees will send off a message to let the others know that the queen is here. So you find like, when I say the others from the same hive.
Yes.
And they will just come and they start swarming in because the queen, without the queen, you don't have a hive.
Oh, so wherever the queen goes, the others go.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And if in the event that the queen dies, what happens?
If the queen dies, they raise another queen.
They raise another queen?
They would raise another queen.
Very intelligent
Raise another queen,
species. Yeah. All right then. So we see you have something that looks like to me looks like a brush for the hair, but it can't be for that. And a whole heap of nice utensils and other looking stuff here. Could you please expound on what some of these are used for?
This brush is a brush that when you take the frames out from the boxes and there's a lot of bees on, I just use the brush because it's nice and soft. This would damage the bees, so I just
Okay.
use this to brush the bees off from the frame. So, instead I have to walk with the bees on the frame, I
Yes.
just use the brush them off and put them into a
What do
box.
you
And
call the frame?
the frames, you will see when we get in there.
Okay, okay, thank
You will see when we get in there.
Okay.
You know.
And what is this one?
This is called a hive tool.
Yes.
This hive tool,
Hold it up with the camera a little more so they
this
can
hive
see.
tool,
Yes.
when I open that box,
Mm-hmm.
normally the bees then will stick like the frames them to each other. And to separate them, I use a hive tool, put it between and pry it. And then take them out. Okay, let's move on.
We see some
The
smoke
smoker.
coming, yes.
This is called a smoker. I use the smoke to move away the bees from the frames because, bees don't really like the smoke like that. Some people say junk them, but no, you don't.
Yeah, that's
All
what
that
I
you
mean.
do is to just move them away. That is all the smoke is about.
Okay. And besides locally, because I presume that you sell honey locally, do you sell honey regionally or internationally?
Yeah,
Any
I do.
outside-
I do.
name
I
a
send
place
honey
or
all
two?
over to St. Croix,
Yes.
all up to England. Yeah, various
as far as
places.
England?
Yeah.
So if I am to go into Valuemat or Rams or any one of those stores and I see a bunch of bee, how do I know that this bee was a product of Mikey
Well,
Willams?
what
Is it
happened?
labeled Mikey?
I don't normally sell like Value Mart and those
Oh,
places
okay.
like honey because I have so many local people to deal with and a few
Oh,
hotels
yes.
that I don't have the time
Mm-hmm.
to really deal with Value Mart because, the prices, the prices that I'm going to be selling Value Mart the honey for.
Yeah.
I don't think it make much sense.
Okay.
You know.
I feel understandable.
So I prefer to sell, more local.
And what are the prices? Give me a price range. I presume it's not one set price. It might be vary on the bottle or the size. What's
Well,
the
I
price
only
range?
I only sell one bottle. I used to
Okay.
sell the smaller ones at one time, but it's better for whosoever are going to be purchasing honey from me to buy the big bottles because it's going to turn out to be plenty cheaper. The small bottles, if I was to be selling the small bottles, I would have been selling one for like about $25. But the big bottle, if you buy the big bottle, it's cost $60. And you could get like 4
Yeah.
of the small ones from the big one. Say, best you buy the big one for $60 instead of have to buy one for 25.
Good. So now, as regards the suit, I feel very secured here. I mean, I always thought that the individuals who go into beehives are completely a little crazy, completely crazy. But I see now that it is a very sane move because the gears are so protective that you have no reason to have any kind of fear or intimidation. Question is, are these suits homemade or they were ordered overseas or what?
This was ordered from overseas. Overseas, yeah.
Overseas.
I used to purchase a lot of stuff from Kelly, but I find it easier to go onto, like different websites and, search for what I'm looking for and then purchase from there.
And you find it to be more cheap as
Yeah,
well?
plenty cheaper, yeah.
Yes, so Mr. Williams, I see it looks as though there are two separate boxes here. I'm not certain if they are separated, but it appears that way from the external side of it. Could you please explain what's the difference between both boxes, if there is any difference?
Okay, the difference between both boxes, one of these boxes, which is the big one on the below, is called a super box, brood box. Down in this area is where the queen is living. And the box on the top,
Sorry, alone?
no, all the rest bees are living there too.
Okay, yes.
But down this way, you do like the lane to get the young ones and then, have swarms going off.
Yes.
And if you really check very carefully, this box is called a brood box. And this one on the top is called a super box. And between both boxes, you see there's a metal frame, which is called an excluder.
Yes.
Here is it.
And what does that do? The
This
excluder?
excluder is to stop the queen from going up into the super box.
Oh.
Because if the queen gets into the super box, up there is where you find like the workers got to make the honey. And if the queen get between this excluder and it get up into the super box, it's going to lay eggs and spoil the honey on the top. So to avoid the queen getting up there, I have to use the excluder between the brood box and the super box
Yes.
to stop the queen from going up.
Yes.
And the workers will go on the top, which is into the super box and make the honey.
So the workers are able to get on top through the excluder because they are smaller?
They are smaller. They are smaller.
Okay.
The queen cannot pass through the excluder.
Because of her
If the
size.
queen pass through the excluder, that means there's a wider spacing in the excluder that causes the queen to go up. But otherwise than that, the queen cannot pass. It's only the workers, the drone bees cannot pass through.
Yes.
Because you have the drone bees, you have the workers, and you have the queen.
So what are the drone bees? I mean, I know I'll be asking questions because, as I said, this is a very intriguing and captivating topic here. What are the drone bees?
The drone bees, those are what mate with the queen.
So she have her selected few that she mates with?
You will select
Selected, yes.
maybe a 9 or 7, which you want to mate with her.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, they are very fortunate.
And when it's time for mating,
Yes.
she's going to leave the box with maybe 7 or 9 drone bees.
Yeah.
And you're going to go way up in the sky.
Yeah.
Maybe almost where those jets are going up there.
Really?
Yeah. Because you see, you got to go that high because you find like you have like these birds.
Oh,
We
yes.
snap them.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
And when they go up there mate, all that mate with the queen, after they finish mating, they die.
Wow. So they're not so lucky as I thought then.
So only the queen come back.
Mm.
But after a certain time, they know exactly when the queen is supposed to be coming back.
Yeah.
After a certain time and the queen ain't come back,
Yeah.
then the well is gone.
Oh, so they start nurturing.
They start nurturing, right.
The workers start nurturing.
They start
another
nurturing
queen.
another, yeah.
Very
yeah.
industrious and intelligent little creatures. I've always heard about bees being very smart, but based on what you're explaining to me now, in their own little kingdom, they do have their own intelligence.
That's right, that's right.
So, as it relates to the mother, the queen bee, you are saying that she selects her mates,
Yeah.
which is about 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And she separates herself from the box
Yeah.
and goes way up in the sky. Hopefully she passes all the dangers of the aerial praise, the birds of praise. And after she finish mating with the 6 or 7 selected drone bees, as you call them, they die. And if she's still living, she gets back to the box where she lays her egg below, and the workers
Start
continue
laying again.
and start laying again.
Yeah.
Okay then. Just trying to make sure that I follow all this information.
And after finish laying, after you lay, a certain amount that would, could give off a swarm.
Yeah.
After they emerge, there's a swarm gonna give off. And the swarm that give off, the same queen that went out to mate, gotta go.
Yeah.
The young queen rule at all time.
Oh, so the older queen has
The
to
older
find
queen
her
have to
off.
go. Take a swarm and go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And I guess that won't be any contention. She
No.
selects her swarm and it's not a problem with the young, the young bee and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nature is very, very interesting. I can't stop saying that. Very interesting to hear about and learn of these infinitesimal details. So going forward, I think it's about time now that we really go forward and go into the box to see what's the actuality of their kingdom is like.
Okay. Now we're going to be raising the cover from the top of the box. And we're going to be getting inside to see exactly what is happening in there.
Oh my goodness. They're all here. And as it is right now, it doesn't appear as though the honey are ready, right? What's the process like to get the honey ready? Because they seem a bit dry. I can see the combs.
No, they are not dry. As we go in,
okay.
I would explain to you
then.
about when this is going to be ready.
All right. So here comes, the sort of trepidatious part where I think the bees from the smoke will be really swarming out at us now.
Okay, now, if you look very carefully, you can see the honey in the cells. If you look very carefully, you can see the honey in the cells. You see it?
Yes, I do. Yes,
Okay. Now these cells are full. They're going to cap them. And when they're finished cap them, we call it the seal. They're going to seal the whole of these, this side and that side. If you look, you can see. They already started. If you look, you can see, start capping already.
Oh, that's what you refer to as capping.
Yeah.
Turn it
Okay,
round,
but
turn it
that's-
round to the camera as well so you can see the capping.
The capping area. But I'm going to show you when you finish capping, right?
Okay, then cool. No problem.
If you look very carefully, you could watch some of the cells and realize that they already start capping. But in another 5 days, this will be ready.
Okay.
So, and you could actually feel the weight.
Yes, good bit of weight here. So
Pure
it
honey.
definitely has to be, yes, embedded with honey, flooded with honey. Oh my goodness. Bees, bees, and bees in galore. Oh, this
Okay,
one is
you could see they're into the process right now of capping. If you look, you see the difference.
big time. Another one as well? And you are saying that after the capping is completed, that is when they are
That is
ready.
time to ready to harvest. That's harvesting time. After that, we complete in the cabin. Yeah.
And there's the grill, the excluder in between there.
The excluder.
Is, oh, so a grill in there.
You see metal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Yeah.
And so it won't be possible for us to see the queen bee, will it?
No.
It'll be okay.
No.
Quite understandable.
Because you see,
She-
to get to the queen,
Mhm.
you know, gotta go move a lot of stuff here.
Oh, okay
Down
then.
this, which she really done. You see, like how he's, you know, like having this thing.
Yeah.
Man, she running about and hiding.
Really?
Yeah.
So she hears or senses or whatever.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
feels a little bit of
She
danger
very,
around.
she get very nervous.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's about what the size of the
Uh,
normal bee? 3 times?
No, no.
Twice?
It's just a little bigger than the worker,
Oh, okay. That's
but
not
it's
such a-
longer.
Oh,
And down to the tail area of it is have an orangish color.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, so Mr. Williams, could you please enlighten us as to how you extract the honey from
From the frames.
the frames?
Okay. To extract the honey from the frame, as you could see, there's a frame I have in my hand which is full with honey, and it's sealed. So to get the honey from these frames, you have to use what you call a hot knife, electric knife. When you plug the electric knife in, it's going to get real hot. And through this is what you call wax. The heat would melt it and cause the cap to come off by slicing it upwards. And after you slice it upwards, all the cap come off. Then you put it into the machine standing up. You put in, my machine is a 5-frame machine, so I put in 5 of these one time. And to get the honey from these frames here, it's going to take me like maybe about 4 to 5 seconds to wheel this honey out. When the honey had already wheel out of these will leave dry. So these frames, after the honey is out, these frames is what I'm going to use right back into these boxes. And the bees then will start the process all over again.
So do the bees start? No, okay. After you extract the honey, which seems to be a very rapid process. I think you said 5 or 6 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you say you put back the frame in. Do you mean literally the frame alone?
The frame.
So they start
because-
from scratch. They start from scratch with heavy
No, on
detail
the
in there?
inside of this, there's an artificial foundation which is stick in the middle of this frame. So what the bees them did is to build on the artificial frames and build it out to the level of the frame. So all I do is to uncap this, and when I uncap it and wheel out the honey, the frame will stay, the foundation will stay to the actual size of the frame. So all the bees have to do is to go back into those cells, pull them out all over again, and then seal them once again.
Very sophisticated, Mr. Williams. Your profession is much more sophisticated than I thought. I thought it was as simple as they get the comb in there and you go and you squeeze it out and you put it in a bottle. I wasn't the way you have machines and you have, artificial framing, whatever is inside for them to start from. But it is a very sophisticated process and profession. And every profession, as we all know, requires an art.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have the art of this dung pack. Okay, now, so Mr. Williams, These bags, were they locally made or were they imported?
Oh, they was imported.
Oh, they were
I could
imported.
make them. I could make them, but the time is not really there.
Yes.
So to make, life is a little easier.
Yeah.
I import them.
Because when you import them, they come as is in terms of they already have the.
No, when they
You
come,
have to
they
put
come,
them
they
together,
come in
or-
pieces. So I got to
Oh,
assemble them.
okay
Yeah.
then. Okay then, fair enough. Now, the profession, as I keep referring to it as, because that's what it is could be somewhat of an intimidating profession because of the fear factor of getting stung by bees incessantly, right? Now, if there is any young person out there, it doesn't even have to be young, but any individual out there, period, who might have been intrigued by what they've heard or seen and wants to get involved in the same profession as yours, what advice or admonition would you render unto them?
Well, to be honest with you, I always encourage young people to get themselves involved in things. Instead of getting, themselves caught up in trouble, something like this would be, a very nice profession for them.
Yes.
So I am advising them, in case they, feel like they want to be a part of beekeeping, they could always confront me at any time. I mean, I'm willing to share. I'm not getting younger.
Yeah.
I'm willing to share my experience with them at any time. I mean,
Question: do you? Okay, let's say there's some youngsters now, maybe like school children, wants to come and just see the experience, not profession, but just maybe like a little touring or whatever you want to refer to it as. Do you do those type of stuff, like individuals who just want to come and experience? And cause I'm very intrigued as I am here and enlightened. Do you do those type of stuff just for the sake of enlightening someone?
I mean, even with the school, there was a little guy there, maybe sometime in last year. I think he had a project on, like beekeeping. And his mom came and she talked with me. And I take him in. I bring him right in and show him everything. Take him home, show him the extractor, how the job have been done. And when he get back to school, he get 100%.
Wonderful. Wonderful. He has to. He has to. I mean, after you have come here and seen all these things, you have so much to say and so much to go back with that you should pass with flying colors. Besides yourself, though, in Navis, are you aware of anyone else who does this profession? Or you are the sole? Okay.
Yeah. He have like Garnet Webb, Vincent Weeks.
Okay.
He have this guy Atta, Baba. I think basically them is who I know of. Yeah. There's a few more I think, but they're not into the profession like like me and Vincent and Garnet. We take this thing more to a different level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay then. And besides, we'll be wrapping up now. Besides beekeeping, do you do anything else
Yeah.
for a living?
I'm a scuba dive instructor. I used to build houses. I build boats. I used to build yachts and all those kind of stuff. Yeah.
You're very well rounded.
Yeah.
Very well rounded. In
I do a lot of fishing.
fishing.
Yeah, I have my boats and everything.
Okay.
Two boats and
All right then. Well, Mr. Mikey Willams, we'll be concluding this interview here that I wish could have gone a lot longer, but I think I've exhausted all the questions that I could ask, I was literally just straining my brain to find questions to ask because I want to know everything that there is to know, not only for myself, but for the general public. So I want to extend sincere appreciation for you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to enlighten us of beekeeping and to let us know that it is a lucrative profession as well. It entails a degree of risk, but we can see that if you have the proper tools and the proper links and everything and the proper attire and gears, of course, the intimidation factor will go away one time. As I can tell anybody here right now, I'm here in the midst of a beehive and I have no fear now. So, I just want to encourage you to, 47 years, to tell you keep up the good work will be such an understatement because it's 47 years you are saying. But just keep up the good progress and in any form, shape or fashion that you can help anyone as it relates to this profession or enlighten them, keep on doing that good work. Thank you so much for allowing us here today and spending near half an hour or more enlightening us.
Well, it's a pleasure. Anytime you feel like, you want to be, like moving into the bees to have a check and, ask a few questions, I'm willing.